right now I am working on a memorial quilt. Actually, I'm working on 4 memorial quilts for a customer. The pattern that she chose was a crazy quilted patch quilt. Each quilt consists of 16 blocks of these crazy patterns. Now, this is my cheat sheet. I have labeled every section with a letter. I printed out the template, and I printed this out in my EQ8 program. It's an electric quilt program. I cut out the matching templates. The next step from here would be to lay out fabric and cut individual pieces that would match the quilt or match the pattern. Right now it looks like a big jumbled mess, but when we're finished it's going to actually look really, really nice. From here I'm going to remove all the pins and I'm going to leave the center stationary. Now, I'm going to do all my sewing on the back of the paper. Now this is just a regular standard printing paper. They do sell specialized paper for this, but I don't really use it. I don't really need it. I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay it down on my section to make sure that it actually fits within the lines. Going to give it a quick press. And this iron, I have to say, I've had it for at least 30 years. It's a Proctor Silex. It is the best little tiny steam portable iron I've ever owned. It's awesome. Can't get them anymore, obviously. Alright, I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to lay it down, and I'm going to make sure that all the lines are covered. I'm going to take my pin and I am going to tack it in place because I don't want it shifting. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this piece right here, and if you looked at the cheat sheet, that would be my letter D section or my letter D template. Let's see, where's my letter D? Of course it's the last one. Here's the letter D, which would match up with this. Oop, matches up here. I find my letter D piece that I've just used. Normally I take these and I lay them out in the proper order. But to make sure that you get the right piece, you're going to line it up. Yep, that's it. Perfect. Going to lay it, give it a little press. But before I could lay this on here, I have to make sure that this piece of fabric is exactly the right size. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to crease it on the fold line. Turn it over. And now I'm going to use my special tool. This is called an add a quarter tool because it adds 1/4 of an inch to your edge. And I'm going to lay it right here. And notice that I have an overhang. So if I use that as my area to line up on, it would be off. So I'm going to cut this off. That's my extra. Turn it back over. Now I'm going to take this piece, lay it down exactly like it's supposed to be, flip it over, and I'm going to pin in 3 different spots on here. I'm going to pin at the top, the middle, and the end. Now from here I'm going to take it and go to the sewing machine. Here at my sewing machine, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to keep my finger on this part right here. I'm going to turn it over because I don't want it to get caught under the presser foot and flipped, because that can be pain. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sink my needle down into the paper. This is the wrong side of the paper, and I'm going to be following the crease line that I made earlier. I'm going to just check underneath to make sure that my fabric is not folded under. I'm going to remove my pin, and I'm going to take a couple of little stitches, and then I'm going to follow the crease line. That crease line is exactly a 1/4 inch away from the edge. Getting close to the end, this is where I'm going to stop my stitches. And I'm going to lock it right there and bring it back to the pressing station. I sewed across that line. If I flip it over, you're going to see that it's stitched in the proper position. I'm going to flip this over, make sure that it actually fits in the proper spot. I'm going to give it a quick little press. And the next part of the block that I'm going to work on is this section right here. But you can see that they don't line up properly, so I'm going to flip it over. Make the crease right along the line. Remove this pin because this pin is in the way. Lay it flat. Use my add a 1/4. Cut that along. Flip it over. It's in line with where it's supposed to be. Now I'm going to take my next piece. Which will go right here. The reason why I said I wasn't too concerned with the edges is because when this block, now that it's completed, being stitched down, I still now have to do some embellishing. Every join is going to have a different color decorative stitch that I'm going to use from my sewing machine. Once all the stitches are down on this page, I then take my add a 1/4 ruler and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold it on that line. so I know where that crease is. Take my ruler, lay it down on the edge, and then I take my rotary cutter and I cut that edge off all the way around every single block so that they are perfect in size. So when I put the quilt together, everything's going to line up and it will be the same size. Now, because I'm working with 4 separate quilts, I have 4 separate piles of sheets. And the reason why I do it this way, instead of just doing one quilt at a time, and here's the other pile, I want to make sure that every single quilt has one of the special items that are in it. For example, this page right here has this nautical knot that I want to make sure that's in every single quilt. And the gentleman was very interested into Christmas, so that's a Christmas design that's here. So I want to make sure that they're represented. Here's another Christmas design in every single one of those quilts. So in order to do that properly, I cut one sheet at a time, one piece at a time for each of the packets. So I know that every quilt will have the same fabrics equally distributed.